like regulators don't really care if you didn't know if you didn't have fake reviews. You either have fake reviews or you don't. And if you do, you can be held liable for them to the tune of tens and tens of, or even hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Hello, everyone. It's Dr. Len Tao, and welcome to another episode of the Raving Patients podcast, sponsored by Cloud Dentistry. Today's episode is near and dear to my heart. We are going to be talking about reviews, and more reviews, but we're talking about a different aspect of reviews than we normally do, which is a problem in today's, society about fake reviews. How big of a problem it is. Are they hurting businesses? How can you identify fake reviews and what you can do to protect yourself from fake reviews? So today's guest, his name is Curtis Boyd, and his company is called The Transparency Company. Curtis, welcome to the Raving Patients podcast.
Hi, thanks, Dr. Tao.
By the way, call me Len. So I much prefer Len, especially on these things. I'm not your doctor, but I appreciate you calling me doctor, but I definitely like Len.
Got it.
So Curtis and I connected on LinkedIn a few weeks ago. We had a conversation. I was really impressed with what his mission is. So Curtis, real briefly, why don't you just kind of give an intro to who you are, where you're from, what your company does, and then the first thing I want to talk about is how you got involved in this, and it's a really interesting story. So why don't you just share with them again about yourself and what the company does?
Sounds good. Thanks again for having me. My name's Curtis Boyd. I'm the founder of the Transparency Company. We're in Los Angeles. We're a tech company that uses machine learning and AI to predict whether a business has earned their reviews or has purchased their reviews online. Our goal is to protect consumers from unethical business owners, to protect business owners from people who might try to cause them harm, like competitors, and other regulatory agencies. In essence, review moderation, and the first of its kind for local businesses on Google Maps.
Perfect. So I thought it was when we spoke for the first time, I was really impressed with, just the way you're able to explain what the problem is. But I was really intrigued by how you got involved in this business. So can you just share that information? Because I thought it was awesome.
Sure. So my career starts about 9 years ago. I was a student nurse in a hospital. I was in my last semester precepting in the emergency room when I ran into a cosmetic surgeon who was having a bad day, and he started complaining about a fake review that was hurting his private practice. I started having a bad day, so I started complaining about my student loans. And, he kind of jokingly said, well, if you could take care of this fake review of mine, I would take care of your student loans. I was like, but doctor, I owe $32,000. And he's like, I've probably lost over 100 just this week. 10 to 15 consults have canceled just because of this review that I know of. I had no idea doctors made that much money at the time. I was a student nurse. Anyway, I was like, doctor, I'll if you're serious, I'll try. He's like, totally. So I told my mom about it, who worked at the hospital. She said he was a really stand-up guy. And so I called his office, left a voicemail saying, Dr. Curtis, I'm going to try this for you. I'm going to try and solve this for you. So we're on. Didn't know anything about contracts, didn't know anything about paperwork. I was a student nurse. Anyways, 48, 72 hours later, I got nowhere. I was begging everyone I could to help, asking my dad's golfing buddy, who's a lawyer, to send a letter. Nothing worked. I had about $900 in my bank account. I decided to buy a plane ticket to San Francisco and just stake out the company to see if I could meet someone who could help me with this. So literally, I approached people as they walked in and out of the building. I said, excuse me, do you work here? I need help removing a fake review for a dentist in LA. And they're like, are you okay? Are you crazy? Are you hungry? Are you homeless? And I was like, no. I'm really trying to get this fake review removed for a doctor in LA. Can you help me? Do you know what to do? And I could tell some people knew what to do. So I had hope. Most people said, no, get out of here. No. But some people I could tell paused and they're like, I think I know how to help this person. So anyway, I ended up failing out the first day. Ended up checking into a hostel. I was young. I was 23 years old at the time. It was a lot of fun. And I came back the next day and I tried again. And then the next day I tried again. Hundreds of people I approached. And finally, a young girl was like, yeah, I think I can help you. She sat down with me, took me to a local Starbucks. We sat down, and 20 minutes, we had the review disputed. And 48 hours later, I had a check for $32,000 and a new outlook on life, on how I could serve people and how I could generate money. I was used to making $12 an hour as a student nurse, and I had just made a year's worth of savings or more in a single day. That doctor happened to be on the board of directors for the entire physician network. So before I finished nursing school, I had over 700 physician clients. He told me how much I should charge, how much, he hooked me up with a bookkeeper and a CPA to get started on creating a business. And before you know it, I'm no longer showing up to the hospital in my scrubs as a student nurse. I'm showing up in khakis. I didn't even take the NCLEX after I graduated nursing school. I had a book full of clients, and one physician network turned into another. Ended up getting pretty busy. I was always hiring, trying to show people how to do this so that I could take on more clients. Ended up going back to school to learn how to code. Built a company called Objection Co. that identifies removable reviews automatically and then submits those disputes automatically. So that way the software could focus on fulfillment while I got to focus on growing my software company. As this program, went on for a few years, I kept having the same conversations with business owners. Can you remove this review for me? And I'd ask the same question. Is it fake? They'd say no, but it's hurting my business. And I just got so frustrated having that conversation. It's like, no, we don't remove fake real reviews. That we don't silence consumers. We don't try and, bury your dirt. Like you need to own this. You need to learn from this. You need to grow as a practitioner and prevent this from ever happening again. They didn't want to hear that. They wanted to just write me a blank check to make a real review go away. And once I said no, they said, okay, well, can you post like 20 or 30 reviews for me and just bury it? No, I'm not going to do that for you. Are you kidding? And then I realized when I looked at their other reviews, I grew really suspicious, and I grew even more suspicious. And I looked at the overall marketplace, and before I know it, I'm looking at every review, really questioning the legitimacy of all these reviews. And I realized that there was no tools to detect fake positive reviews. So that's when I started out, went back to school again for data science and machine learning at MIT. And while I was getting tutored, because it was really hard, I realized I needed a data set. Ended up purchasing a data set from a guy over in India, overseas. Ended up flying out there, spending time at his house, documented the whole thing, bought almost 500,000 fake reviews, and programmed the transparency to understand the behavior and content, not only behavior, but the review content part of fake reviews, what they look like, what they sound like, what type of content is inside of them, how they present, on listings. And built an algorithm to detect it, and that's where we're at today. It's been live for about 4.5 months.
That's awesome. I love the story. It's $32,000. I'll fix it for you. You did, and it started you on your journey you're on. So that's hard worker, and I respect that about you. So congratulations on that. And I think the story will resonate with a lot of the listeners. So let's start to get into the content here. And I know you want to share your screen to show what a report looks like, so the people who are watching on video will be able to see it. Those who are listening, jump onto the video podcast on YouTube, and they'll be able to see it as well. So let's start off with how big of a problem. And before I do that, I want to clarify. There are dentists reach out to me all the time, and they said that they got a bad review that's not written by a patient, and I say, well, how do you know that? And they tell me, well, it's not a patient record. I want to clarify that by saying that there are many patients who write fake reviews or real reviews that are not with their name on it. So it may not be the actual patient's name who's doing it, but that's just the way Google, nobody will write a fake review, in my opinion, with their real name unless they're never going back to the business again. So, I just want to clarify that there's a difference between a fake review that's written by a patient, that's a real patient, and a fake review that's a fake review about the business written by a company that you pay. So basically, you're paying for that type of work. So there's a difference here. So Curtis, how big of a problem is fake reviews at this point?
I feel like right now we're probably at the height of it, and it might get bigger. We're hoping to curb it a bit. But that being said, in the last 2 years, Google alone removed 130 million fake reviews. That's almost 180,000 fake reviews per day. And in my opinion, it's just the tip of the iceberg. I feel like a lot of the fake reviews, most of them, are still online. They're still on the listings. And it's not just Google, it's Amazon, it's Yelp, it's TripAdvisor. All these listings struggle with it. Google just happens to be the biggest one. But we're talking hundreds of millions of fake reviews online. And it is a massive, massive multi-billion-dollar program that not a lot of, problem that not a lot of people are aware of or conscious of how massive it is.
No, that's a lot of reviews are being, you said 130 million reviews are being removed by Google because of they are flagging them as fake reviews.
Yep.
Wow, that's an incredible number. So, obviously, fake reviews hurt businesses in multiple ways. Can you review the ways that they are hurting businesses?
Wow, there's a lot of different ways that reviews can be used against you that you might not be aware of. One of the things I love doing is auditing competitor reviews to see what they're doing right, pulling out of the good things that your competitors are doing that you're not doing. Basically pulling out phrases of repeated phrases within their 5-star reviews and then looking to see if you have those phrases. This can be done using NLP and other tools, but essentially just making themselves better by learning about what you're getting right and what people are praising you about. They can also look at your negative reviews and they can see what you're doing wrong and then create advertising based off of your negative feedback, right? If you're doing something wrong and multiple people are saying it, other people may use that in their advertising to say, hey, I got that part right. Why don't you come see me, right? They'll use those complaints in advertising to create a value proposition to come switch to the other side. So those are two things how, reviews can hurt. Reviews carry a lot of liability in the sense that, if you're a licensed professional, you're upheld to standards that other businesses aren't, other professionals aren't. There's a code of conduct. You need to use, non-deceptive marketing practices. So the use of illegitimate reviews is really, really risky for licensed practitioners. And I think 2022 is going to mark the first year that we're going to see licensed professionals losing their licenses over fake reviews. Normally, it's just a little slap on the hand. Hey, we're sending notices, right? We're sending notices of this. Now I think we're going to start seeing actual suspensions of licenses, which is kind of terrifying because it alludes to how serious that people are taking this and how serious consumers are being hurt and ripped off.
You had mentioned when we spoke on the phone the first time that the FTC is also cracking down and they will be fining businesses as well if they are I guess you can say proven to be generating fake reviews for their business.
Absolutely. The FTC generally goes after much larger organizations like nationwide practices with hundreds of locations. If it's my opinion that if they found evidence of those larger practices using fake reviews, I think they'd probably go after you. Small businesses are better targets for like the Attorney General's office, the Department of Consumer Affairs. FTC goes after those really big businesses. And we're talking $46,000 per fake review. It's a new fine that they just rolled out. So it's pretty devastating. Even 10 fake reviews is already $500,000.
Interesting. So, somebody is looking at, a Google My Business page or a Yelp page, whatever. There are obviously ways to identify a fake review. So can you discuss some of those things that someone just by looking without running a report that you provide? Is there anything that's consistent or inconsistent about reviews when they are something that's fake generated?
Yeah, I mean, looking at reviews with your human eyes, you can only process so much at once, right? And we're limited kind of by time and our attention spans. So when I look at reviews, I like to not so much look at the content at first. I kind of like to get a sense of who is reviewing this business and other businesses. I like to look at behavior, essentially. I like to see, is there a good variety in the categories they're writing reviews for? I look at the time between the reviews. I look at a lot of behavior things at first, because those are generally the biggest giveaways. If I don't see anything there, then of course I'll look at the content. I'll see what's being written. The problem with fake reviewers these days is they're getting better. They're getting better because a lot of them will guarantee their work and say, "Hey, if this review gets removed, I'll have to replace it for free." So their tactics are getting better. They're evolving. It's turning more into a cat and mouse game with technology with these big tech companies. But that being said, oftentimes a fake reviewer will be tasked with writing a fake review, and the person won't even provide the content. And then they'll go, okay, I need to write it myself. But a lot of the times they realize they're not very good writers. They're overseas. They're in Bangladesh. They're in India. They're in Pakistan. They're terrible writers. And English just isn't their first language. So what they resort to is finding a dentist outside of maybe even locally, or maybe even a few hundred miles away, and they will rip that review. They will literally change the name of the doctor and then steal 97% of the other review and just replace the name. And so what you're left with is a duplicate review. Now, it's hard. Like that was a real review at one point, right? That was a real patient review that someone wrote, and now it's a real review that was ripped off. So it can be hard to tell what reviews are fake just by looking at them and reading them, because they could sound real, and there's a good chance maybe they were ripped off. So looking at one thing is hard, which is why we use computer servers, which is why we have machine learning models that crank out 100 different reasons why a review might be fake, or why a business might have fake reviews. They don't miss anything, and they can look at 100 things at the same time.
It's funny. There was a neighbor of mine in Philadelphia, and many years ago, I was looking at his reviews, and I'm saying these are all fake. And I actually have screenshots of this. I haven't showed it in my seminars recently because it's old data, but literally it was very interesting because the name of the patients who were writing the review, number one, were former football player names. So it was like Dan something Marino and Eric something Dickerson, and they had a picture of a model standing like this. Which nobody uses middle names anyway on these reviews, nor do they use a model photo necessarily. But if you read the actual review, okay, the reviewer, whoever wrote the reviews, it was the guy's name DMD, and it was calling him his name MD in the review. It wasn't even the right name of the person. Yep. So they were consistently, and eventually Google took them down. So there are things that you can see if you read multiple reviews. There's definitely patterns you can find for some of these people if they don't get the right information, and or they put in the wrong information. You can definitely capture that and see that they're obviously fake. It was very obvious to me that this office was using fake reviews at the time, but and I just took a screenshot but it was definitely an interesting way to figure that out. So obviously there are tools that are available, including one that you have. So do you want to talk about, your tool, what it is? I mean, there's two aspects to it. One is the report that a consumer or a business can get, and another is a plugin for Chrome that can help to identify them as well. So can you touch base on that, and maybe now then show your screen so you can show what the report that you generate looks like?
Sure. Yeah. So, we have built technology to predict whether reviews are, in our opinion, legitimate and earned from providing an amazing experience that, inspired someone to take the time to write online, or whether that person, invested in an overseas freelancer and purchased fake reviews from someone who never had an experience with someone who was never there, and that experience never happened. It's just pixie dust. We built a Chrome extension to try and make it really easy, especially for consumers, to quickly and for free find out if a business has earned these fake reviews. Now, it's a tool we've figured out how to monetize for our businesses so that they can understand more about, get the data behind their reviews and their competitors' reviews. And I'd love to share an example of what it looks like when a business fails. Like, what kind of data is there that provides concrete evidence that this business is cheating. So I'll go ahead and share my screen. This is our site, askfortransparency.com, but this is the report I wanted to show you guys. A transparency report is anywhere from 4 to, I've seen them as big as 400 pages. We're not going to show a dentist just because, this we're going to show a contractor. But the first page is a cover page. It tells you the name of the company, the report ID number, if anyone has questions about the report ID number, the pass or fail badge. Like I said, this business failed, and a quick little statement about the number of reviews that were inspected and the date that they were inspected. This is the analysis page that tells us how many legitimate reviews we believe there were and how many suspicious reviews there were. This is our NLP model. The one we're most proud of is our authorship clustering profile. If you have a business with 100 reviews, there should be 100 unique human beings. There should be 100 unique writers. The way that I write is different than the way you write, I promise you. And so what we do is if we see the same writing style, authorship style on multiple profiles, then we cluster them together. We believe that 29 of these 36 fake reviews were written by the same person. This is a review pod analysis. It's a proprietary score that counts the amount of other businesses that we also believe purchased reviews, and we kind of group them, cluster them together. We look at the first-time reviewers. It's not an absolute metric, but it's important to know, like, how many out of 220, how many of them are writing reviews for the first time? If it's over 200, that's alarming. 60 is okay. Anonymous is a setting that Google allows you to enable. It's a little toggle. And what we have found is that 2 to 3% of Google My Business users will toggle that and be anonymous. This is 26. Out of 220, that's almost 15, 16%. That's a big red flag. We also create a map to show you where else these people are writing reviews. This would be okay if it were TripAdvisor, right? And we were looking at maybe TripAdvisor reviews, but for Google reviews, for a local solar installation company, the map shouldn't look like this. These are the review pod tables. This is the evidence that you can take to all sorts of parties and say, hey, look, here's evidence of fraud. So what a review pod is when you have a business, actually 2 or more businesses being reviewed by 2 or more of the same people. The first business is the business we audited, this Florida solar company. The second business is in this column. So these 2 businesses had the same 3 reviewers, Albert, Gabriel, and Willie. So these 3 people wrote a review for a tire fitting service in the UK and had their solar installed. Or maybe the same 3 people had their car fixed in Malaysia, right? Or I can scroll down, it gets worse. They had a moving company help them out, right? Or they got some garbage removed in Australia, or they had their cars towed in Texas. All of these are links. So if you want to see what review fraud looks like, you can actually click on a report. It'll take you to the link and you can see the fraud for your own eyes and just understand a bit more about it. Let's see here. Here we go. So I'll scroll around and you can see how the pins just kind of pop up here all over the world. But this is pretty obvious to me that these reviews are fraud. And it kind of just shows, like, who are the other companies? Who are the other people who are purchasing fake reviews? Because what they do is they write, they'll fulfill your order using the same profiles as other businesses. So all the customers are kind of batched together. It's obvious.
It's funny that you just scroll down a little bit there. That pinch a penny, you keep going down through the review. That pinch right there, those companies are actually right around the corner from my house. That company's on there. That's really funny. I've been in there. I purchased something from them before. So,
that's funny.
Yeah. That's really interesting to see that I recognize that company.
So yeah, this is the way that we document fake reviews. Not only that, but of course we'll be able to see if they have duplicate content, if they're ripping off reviews from other businesses. But the way we use this is to help our customers protect themselves, right? Let's make sure that your reviews are real. Anyone who's hired a third-party SEO company, hired a marketing director that they let go of. Maybe he was a little shady. Anyone, if you've hired someone in marketing and you didn't really know them very well, or you didn't trust them very well, you need to have your reviews audited because maybe they did something without you knowing about it, like purchasing fake reviews. And when people purchase fake reviews, there can be really amateurish mistakes to be made that can really increase your liability. And we want to turn that liability of reviews into an asset so that you can be proud of every single one of these reviews because we can prove that they're real. That protects you from competitors. It protects you from review websites putting a consumer alert on your page. If you've ever talked to a business owner who's had a consumer alert put on their business listing, it's devastating. It's a complete loss of trust. It's terrible for your brand. It's terrible for your reputation. It's something that really never goes away because people are going to blog about it and people are going to talk about it, and it's tough and it's expensive. Anyways, you're also going to be protected from regulators. People don't care, like regulators don't really care if you didn't know if you didn't have fake reviews. You either have fake reviews or you don't. And if you do, you can be held liable for them to the tune of tens and tens of, or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. So that's the first thing we want to do. The second thing we like to do for our clients is competitor analysis. We love to tell you who in your local marketplace is cheating, who in your local marketplace is actively deceiving consumers using deceptive marketing practices, and we show you how to take them down. We show you how to recapture some of that market share, and deservedly so. They're cheating and you're not, right? So you deserve a bit more market share. They don't deserve the clients that they're getting from their deceptive marketing practices.
Interesting. So I actually have the report that you created for my office. And obviously people who are listening to this know that I've been doing this legitimately for a very long time. So I asked Curtis to run a report for me just so I can show it. So I'm going to share my screen real quick because I have it here and you should be able to see my report. Do you see it?
Yeah, congratulations again.
Okay. So for those that are looking, it's verified. It will show you all the review breakdown. I have no suspicious profiles, no suspicious anything. So it shows you that all my reviews are really coming from the Pennsylvania cluster here where my practice is located. And there's really nothing on here that really is indicative of anything being generated that's fake. So I just wanted to show you what a report looks like when you're a legitimate business. So
yeah, what I wanted to mention is that for legitimate businesses who have review pods happen naturally all the time, and it's totally okay. The hard part's telling which is real and which is fake. But these real review pods, these are potential partners where your customers are also doing business with. These are people where you have multiple customers who are shopping with these businesses. Maybe a collaboration. This is a decent place to look for partnerships and collaboration to drive even further, maybe referrals, or because you get to see where they're spending.
Yeah, and these are actual patients of mine. I can tell by the names. I recognize all these names, and they're car dealerships, and this is an appliance store near me. So this is the oral surgeon I referred to. So that there's 3 reviews that were written to the oral surgeon I referred to. So this is really interesting data to look at. So like I said, I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew what it was legitimately. And I had made a recommendation to Curtis that if people do purchase this, he should get a window cling that proves that you're a verified business, so people know that you're generating positive reviews from your business. So Curtis, I want to. Is there anything else before we go into where we ask people how to reach out to you and stuff? Is there any other points that you wanted to discuss with the listeners and the viewers?
I just wanted to tell people, when it comes to generating a good reputation, to focus on customer experience. I feel like after years and years of working on like the tools and the technology and the automation, I feel like at the end of the day, it still comes down to providing an amazing experience. I know this is something you've touched on a lot within your talks, Len. I've heard a few of your recordings, but I think once you nail the customer experience, the rest of this, like, you don't need fake reviews. You don't need to worry about your reputation, like the way things are reflected online, because you're doing it. It's really a proactive approach versus this reactive approach, and all the negative things that happen when you don't provide good experiences at your practice. So, Yeah. The only thing I like to make sure I talk about is just the importance of really like being purposeful and intentional about every single person who walks through the door and making sure you're doing everything you can to put a smile on your face, because just one person having a bad day, just one little tiny little thing going wrong is enough to trigger them to dump their garbage on you, and that garbage can linger on your online presence for a while. I feel like humans, sometimes we're like walking garbage trucks, like we carry around garbage with us all day. And if you or your staff add a little tiny little piece of garbage to that pile that's already there, bam, they're going to dump it all on you. And now it's on your online reputation. So just, just try and notice the signs of people who are having bad days and tread extra carefully and try and make them smile even brighter.
No, that's great. So I want to just switch to the different part of the podcast where I'm going to ask you some questions. We chose the hustle again. It's about business. So I'm going to read you some questions here. Just answer them really quickly, and we'll get through about 8 or 9 questions. So the first one is, what has been the most satisfying moment in business for you?
Oh, wow. You know, I'd have to say that it was probably my first big win with that first $32,000 check. I mean, it kind of set, like, I got an adrenaline rush. I was thinking my life's going to change. I didn't really have any idea of 9 years later I'd be a data scientist, but I definitely think it was that first time I solved a problem for someone. I think is probably one of my proudest moments.
I think that's great to hear. So do you have any systems in place to keep yourself organized?
Yes. So I'm a big, so as a software developer, we use Atlassian products, like Trello. And so we definitely have, it's kind of like Basecamp. We use project management software to keep us accountable, not only to our own clients, but to ourselves, so that we know what we need to do each and every single day. Without it, I'd feel like I'd just be, for me, I can be a bit scatterbrained. I can be a bit forgetful. So it's really important for me to make sure my project management software is helping me with my tasks throughout the day.
What about the future are you most excited about?
I feel like review sites are starting to listen to us for the first time in the last 2 weeks. These big tech companies are actually having conversations with us, and we're actually starting to collaborate, and which is super exciting, because for us, I want to be the hub of how we end online review fraud, this big data hub. If you think about the problem we're trying to solve, which is fake reviews, it's not just on one site; it's on all these sites. So, anyways, I'm most excited about being able to participate with these large like some of the world's largest companies to actually get this figured out and solved.
Perfect. How do you capture and keep track of your ideas? Do you keep a notebook? Do you use voice memos?
I wish I was that tech savvy. I have like a little Canva board on my wall and stickies, and I like to reflect on them once a week. So I'll write them down on a sticky, put them on my board, and if it's a good one, I'll spend time with it. Otherwise, you just got to move on because life is short.
And then who is one person you'd love to have as a mentor?
I'm a big fan of the. I'm blanking on his name. He's the CEO of Podium.
Oh, Eric Ria?
That's right. Yep, Eric Ria. I would love to be mentored by Eric Ria.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Podium is one of my competitors. I'm surprised you brought them up. So that's funny.
I didn't mean to bring up competitors.
No, it's fine. Yeah. It's fine. That's Eric Ria. So
yeah.
So that's interesting. Those were some really good answers. Thank you so much. If anybody wants to reach out to you, Curtis, what's the best way to reach out to you? And do you have any offers on the transparency report in terms of offering to the viewers and listeners?
Yeah. Feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm happy we can do an audit. We can talk about your reviews and just have a conversation. Make sure that you're, at the end of the day, just say you heard me on Len's podcast, and we'll get you a free report for your business. But yeah, huge fan of what you guys are doing over there at Bird Eye as well. I certainly
No
didn't
worries.
didn't mean
It's all right. It's all
didn't
right. No
want.
problem.
Yeah, cool.
No problem at all. That was a fun little response there. So, and Curtis, what's your email so people can reach out to you via email?
Yeah, it's Curtis at askfortransparency.com.
All right, perfect. So, guys, if you want to learn more about his report for your business, please reach out to him. Make sure you let him know that you heard about him through the podcast Raving Patients, or myself, Len Tao. If you have any questions for me about this, reach out to me. It's len at drlentao.com, or you can reach out at ravingpatientspodcast.com. Curtis, thank you so much for joining me today. Guys, remember this episode come out Friday at 5 a.m. in the morning. If you like it, please share it. Please recommend people listen to it. Please subscribe. And most importantly, please review us so other people want to subscribe. I like to end these podcasts with my famous saying, remember, your reputation matters. Until the next episode, Curtis, thank you so much for joining me today, and we'll speak to you guys soon.